Here's the nice solid board again. This is very solid. Once it gets to shim, it will be even more solid. The next one is to glue this big crack. And this one too. We can probably do both at the same time. Let's see. Oh, this too. That needs to be glued. Bridge foot. And that's it. Here's the last glue joint on this big panel. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. It's pretty easy. Small crack. Pretty long crack. This little one over here. Gotta make sure it's in there. That should be good. This for our weight. Keep it down. And again, the same wedge procedure. Excuse me. Might need a clamp here. Here's the final setup for the clamps. Sometimes the way we plan to clamp these is not how it needs to be clamped. Pretty close. This was, it had a little give to it, so I just put some more wedges in there. That worked good. These are all pushing down good. The cracks look nice and closed. And it should be dry now, so I can take this out and look at it next. And here's that crack. This dark line, nice and flat. This one over here, this one, that's very good. Can't even tell there was a crack there. I can flip this over. You see the face? This is more important, this side. It's okay if the bottom's a little crooked. Will it bounce? Yep. Here we go. There's a little piece of wood there that can cause problems. Looks like it didn't. This looks good. This one looks good. Nice and flat. That's what we want. I'll glue that next. That's an easy one. And I think that is it for this panel. We glued everything together. We'll make sure, we'll check out all these little hairline cracks, flex the board, see if they open up, and if they do, we can just stick some glue in there, and that will be nice and solid. So I'll glue that little bridge foot down there, and this should be done. Okay, this is nice and hot. One little piece, nice thin glue. Bridge end. Ooh, that's hot. Just work it in there. That should be good. And just squeeze it. Oops. Slippery hands. There. Back to the bridge again. I sanded these tops a little more. Filled in some dents, or string dents. They are now nice and flat. I chiseled out all of this old finish, and now I have this rounded block. It's just perfect for sanding these. Put a little sandpaper on this and just sand each one, even up the color. It takes a while. It's quite a bit to do, but that will even up things like these kind of orangey spots, yellowish. This will all be nice and even color, and it looks much better. It'll be smoother too. These are a little rough, some of these. So once that's done, we will come back. Back out. Here's the top of the bridge again. These were all sanded smooth, and now I'm putting a quick coat of thin shellac on these scallops. Pretty messy. I'll just sand the top with some high grit paper after this, and it will be very sharp looking. I'll put on about maybe 2 more coats of shellac like this, just brushing it on quickly. Here's that other half of the board, large section. This needs a lot of gluing too. I glued this big crack already. That was all flimsy, nice and solid now. Glued this one too, I believe. Yeah, that's the last one I glued. This hairline crack went all the way to about here. You can see it open up. Stuffed some glue in there, that's good. These are loose on one side, these shims that were put in. We can just spread this board apart and put some glue in there. That'll be good. These are gonna need glue. Everything flexes a little. This part for sure. This area is a little damaged also. All this moves. I glued this one already too. That was a long one. Easy panel to manage. You can see someone was here with probably a knife trying to get this board out. This is okay. This will probably just glue right down. Here's the back side of that crack. So I'll just keep gluing this in our press table, and when this is all solid, we can join this panel to the larger panel, and we'll have an almost complete soundboard. Here's a tricky glue operation. Oops. Just like the base bridge, putting the graphite on here. I'm just to the end of it now. Just a little bit of water on the top, a little bit of graphite. Just polish it on. and it looks beautiful. Okay, I just vacuumed the tops of these bridges off. You saw they were all messy and covered in graphite. They came out very good. There's only a few spots that need a little bit of cleaning up. Like over here. This far edge is a little fuzzy. It should be very sharp. A little bit of graphite spilt over. Like this. That should be a nice straight, perfect line. It's a little spilt over there. Seems like just on the very ends it did that. In the middle here it looks good. Tiny bit on this one. That one looks pretty good. Maybe on this one, on the very end. Looks alright. I'll true up any areas that need to be cleaned. And the top of this bridge should be finished. Oh, we gotta put the pins in. That comes next. So I'll clean this bridge up, the caps, and start putting the pins in. These slices in the wood here have a lot of loose wood pushed in there, and it's keeping them open. So just kind of quickly digging out most of the loose bits, and I'm going to glue this down next. That's okay. Over here too I'm going to go after this split. All this stuff needs to be cleaned before good glue is put in. That should be good. It seems to press down flatter anyway. And I'll glue this up and we'll be back. Here I am in the dark barn again, and here's my piece that I've been patching the board with. This is the same type of wood, same color. This is a very good piece, but it's way too short for what I need right now. I'm looking through these, and I think this bundle, this is a whole soundboard. This whole bundle came out of one piano, so it should be all the same wood. And from what I can see, it looks to be the correct type of wood. About the same color. That's nice. I'll take this one down and we can check it out. Okay, here's the panels that I picked out, and I'm not sure if it's good enough. This is our soundboard that we're fixing. There's very wide grain here in the center of the board. This is a little tighter. It's hard to see. It might be too dark. It might lighten up though. This is not long enough. I can use two pieces though. We can join them here under the bridge. That's a good thing to do. This might work. I'll clean this up a little more and take a better look. We want to make sure we put the right stuff in. Okay, here's that piece again. I sanded it quite a bit on this top, just this little section, and it looks very similar. I think that's good enough. Nice grain. I can end it here, shave this extra stuff off. That'll be one piece up to the bridge, and then I can put another little short piece after the bridge, and that will be our big expansion shim, because we're going to have to get rid of this jagged stuff. We're just going to plane that flat and put our piece in here. It's going to be a fairly wide one made out of this stuff, so that should be good. I'll start flattening these edges, sand this some more, get all this old finish off, and prepare to glue it. Okay, all the work I did on this panel was wasted because I just found out this piece is too thin in one spot to patch our soundboard. This is tapered. It's thicker here. It goes thinner as you go to the end. So this panel, this whole board is no good. This board is a different board I got. It looks like the right type of wood. I picked a piece out that had wide grain, and I have it over here glued to the panel we are working off of. This little strip. This is going to be thinned down later. It's not going to be that wide. You can see that should be good. It's going to be a two-part deal. It ends here. That's under the bridge, and it's going to have another piece that goes there because we didn't have a long enough piece to go all the way. So this should dry soon, and then I can take it out and we can look at it, and I can make a piece to go from there to there. And that will be our spacer. Okay, working on the bridge here. Here's our nice clean pins. Two sizes there. Three sizes actually. There's 6 large ones for the base. Here's our bridge. And I'm drilling out these holes with a drill bit that's about 2,000 smaller than the pin size. So the pin should fit nice and tight when we go to hammer them in. And we drill these out because they get full of stuff as we work on them, like graphite or super glue, some wood dust, and maybe some wood chips. Probably not chips. We don't take any wood off of this. But a lot of stuff does come out when we drill them, mostly graphite. So I'll clean out all these holes, and then I can start putting the pins in. Here's our soundboard. Here's our piece we added. 2 pieces. It ends under the bridge there. It will be hidden. You will not be able to see that. Goes all the way to the end there. And it's longer or wider than it needs to be right now. So we just put this over here. Make sure this is in where it's going to be. Come down here. Those holes look good. That's where that goes. About like that. And that is about how big our spacer is going to be. A wide one. We took quite a bit of wood out. This was a very jagged split. But this will be good. This is equally old wood. It's like almost the same thing. Very similar color. Very similar grain. It tapers down here to almost 0. So that will be our spacer. That's nice. So I'll draw a line on this, cut the excess off, plane it flat, and I can glue these panels together. We just joined the 2 main panels together. You can see our spacer in there. Tightening up the last few things. We're going to let this sit, wipe off all this excess glue. You can see the glue there squished out of a hole that was there. Looks good. Flat, flush with itself.
Very good. Very nice. Warm too.
Once this is dry, we can take it out and take a look. Here's an old square grand soundboard we have. We're getting ready to take the bridge off and take these panels apart and store it for later. But this is a Steinway, probably 1880s. It's probably almost the same age as the A we're working on. And here is a bad pin I pulled out of the bridge. The tip of it broke off. It was really stubborn to take out and it twisted off, so this is too short. What we have here is the exact same size pin. These odd metric size pins you can't get anywhere. So I'm just going to put this into our bridge I'm working on and it should fit perfectly. I checked the size of this. It's the same size. That's great. That's what we do with our bridges here. This is not original, but just as old, from Steinway. So it's the same thing. So that's pretty good. We're going to save this bridge for future work. These pins are, like I said, impossible to find now. That's it. Here's the pin that I took from that upright, the center pin here. I'm sure it's the same pin. They must have put the same pins in the pianos. The bridge looks very similar. Even this pin is on the other bridge. Factory locator. And you can see all the pins are in. The far side has been pounded down to the correct height and filed flat. I'm doing the side closest to me now. These are all going to be hammered down a little more and filed flat to get that nice sharp shiny top. And once that's done, I think the top of this bridge is finished. There's a few tiny scratches I put in this graphite. That can be repaired with just a little more graphite and some water. It's coming along good. Once the top is done, all I will have to do is sand the sides, and this bridge should be ready to go back on. Here's the big panel, all together now. Still has quite a bit of work to be done. You can see our spacer there. It hasn't been sanded very much, and it still has some glue on it, so it looks a lot darker. It fits good here. You can see the makeup for shrinkage there. This edge feels good. It could go this way a little maybe. Feels good. These holes line up. These holes line up. That's important. These are a little off. That's okay. They usually don't line up. They're very close. I think we can fix these big cracks now. Put our own shims in there. We also decided to plug these. This part is under the plate, so a plug is okay. You won't see it. It doesn't matter if it's a little funky looking. Lots of shims in this board. And the next part is to keep adding on to it. I'll go get the pieces and see how they fit.